Greetings, students, and welcome to another fun-filled day here at
Horror in the Halls.
What's up, kids, and welcome to Horror in the Halls. I'm Bob, aka Mr. Holland.
And I'm Jenny, aka Mrs. Hill.
And we're just two high school teachers educating the masses on the spooky stuff we love. This July, we are going to summer camp, and it looks like this one is the one we'll be dying for. 1984's Friday the 13th, the final chapter, or, part 4.
Sweet.
Sweet. It's my favorite one.
I thought this one was weird, but it was okay.
I just like Corey Feldman. He's a weirdo. That's why I love this one. It's so funny.
Yes, he looked real awkward at the end.
I know. He just made weird faces. So many weird faces.
I mean, that's him though, right?
I know, but this was like one of his first movies, so it's before we knew it was him. You know what I mean? Like when
I know, yeah.
Could you imagine seeing this in 84? Like, what's wrong with that kid? Like, there's one scene where he's hugging his sister, and he's just like, it just looks ridiculous.
I wish everyone could see your face right now.
I know, right?
That's funny.
Right, let's get into the deets here. So, released on Friday, April 13th, 1984. They super rushed it to get it out on a Friday the 13th.
That's fun.
Runtime, 91 minutes. Was directed by Joseph Zito. He's more of a big deal now than he was then, but he had just come off doing The Prowler, which is also very similar to Jason. It's like one of those Friday the 13th kind of knockoffs, home invasion mix movies.
Mm-hmm.
But they liked it so much that they brought him in to do this. He also did a whole bunch of Chuck Norris movies afterwards. It was awesome. So like he did a bunch of like genre films in the 80s. He did early 80s, he did horror. Then he went and doing like The Missing in Action, Invasion USA, like a bunch of big action movies. So he did everything like the quintessential 80s movies, which are like horror movies and action. That's like what it was totally this guy. He started, his big one was Blood Rage. It was an early movie. It's pretty decent for what it is. The Prowler is really good. Like I said, it's one of those, let's mix Friday the 13th with some other genre, and it's like a home invasion kind of, I don't know, it's weird to explain, but it's a good film. Then, of course, he did like the Missing in Action series. Written by Barney Cohen. Story by Bruce Sakow. Of course, it's based on characters from the original, because it's all, Jason, everybody else.
Yeah.
The cinematography is, I knew how to pronounce this yesterday, Joao Fernandez. And this guy's really interesting because he's done a ton of stuff. Apparently, he started his cinematography in the 80s in porn.
Okay.
What they call the porno chic. Like, he's the cinematographer for, like, Deep Throat. Like, that big, infamous, like, 70s porn movie. And The Devil and Miss Jones, which are two, like, of those, like, kind of fancier pornos. Like, we're trying to make mainstream kind of early porno,
Mm-hmm.
It was so much like Roger Ebert even said it was the best entry into the genre, which I'm like, I figure you just destroy it because it's a porn. But so he ended up shooting Blood Rage. It was one of his first forays into mainstream movies, not porn. And the director liked him so much, he brought him for a bunch of other stuff. So he got him to do The Prowler. He did this Friday the 13th movie, and he essentially did like a ton of Chuck Norris movies, like for Canon Films in the 80s. Like a ton of them. His list is like, there's like way more Chuck Norris movies. But like, even the really bad ones where Chuck Norris is like fighting demons and nonsense, this dude shot all of them.
Oh my gosh.
Which kind of explains some of the shots. I got a real action kind of vibe going in some of the way the movement is. So I kind of liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Special effects by this are done by Tom freaking Savini. So you really can't go wrong with that, which is kind of cool. He wanted to kill his creation. So that's why, and this is the one entry where Jason looks real similar to the kid Jason. It's because Tom Savini designed it to be that way on purpose.
Okay.
That's what he said. He said it was only fitting to let him come in and kill his creation, but this was supposed to be the last one.
Okay, yeah.
But we all know how horror movie producers are. It's like, nah, we can make some money.
And the next one is real weird.
I know, right? But it is also submitted like Tommy Jarvis is like the big protagonist. It was interesting. So this is why they made more of them. So the budget for this one was $2.2 million, which that's a lot of money in 1984. But its box
Yeah.
office is like $33 million.
That's crazy.
I know, right? They're like, yeah, buddy, we're making 1 million more of these. And that explains why we got Jason
Mm-hmm.
Takes Manhattan. Because this one made money. Jeez. Surprisingly, it's not rated very well. 24% on Rotten Tomatoes. Got a 51% audience score. With a 3.1 on Letterboxd. Well, so it's respectable on Letterboxd. Like I said, I tend to trust them more than Rotten Tomatoes. Of course, like the plot, if you don't know the plot of a Friday the 13th movie, then apparently you've never seen one.
Right.
Jason goes back to Camp Crystal Lake and kills co-eds. That's essentially the plot of those movies. Do you like to have sex? You're going to die. Welcome to Camp Crystal Lake.
Right.
We have Kimberly Beck as Trish Jarvis. Corey Feldman as Tommy Jarvis. Ted White as Jason Voorhees, which is kind of interesting. He's the oldest stunt actor to ever play Jason. And he wanted to play him differently. That's why in this film, Jason runs.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I noted it in my notes, but I thought that was a little bit more daunting. If I saw that man running at me, I would not even looked back. I would just keep running.
Until you tripped because you're like the typical white girl. Oh, God. And then you get murdered.
Well, I trip anyway, so.
So I'm saying, you're clumsy. You're going to trip, eat it, and then Jason's going to kill you.
Well,
In the
hopefully he does
craziest
it
way.
hopefully he does it real quick. And I don't feel much.
He usually doesn't make people suffer. You pretty much die pretty fast with this guy. We got Eric Anderson as Rob Dyer, Barbara Howard as Sarah, Peter Barton as Doug, Crispin Glover as Jimmy/Jimbo, which is hilarious. My favorite part of this movie. Alan Hayes, Joan Freeman as Tracy Jarvis, Judy Aronson as Samantha, Camilla and Carrie Moore as Tina and Terry, those twins. Apparently at one point in time they were the Doublemint twins, but they couldn't find footage of that, so it's unverified. Lawrence Monsoon as Ted, Bruce Mahler as Alex Burns, Lisa Freeman as Nurse Robbie Morgan. She's kind of named after the other people. And then Bonnie Hellman as the hitchhiker, which that poor death scene in the beginning. It's ridiculous.
I feel so sorry for her. I was like, no, why did she have to go?
I liked her little hippie sign on the back. It was like, F you. I think it made me laugh. She's like, whatever, jerk.
No, she didn't even say nothing. She just has that like funny look on her face. And she's like, fine, I'm just going to sit here and eat my banana.
Apparently in that scene, the person in the Jason is Tom Savini. Because they shot that later on and Ted's time was already done. So Tom Savini did it. And they had to color correct her neck. I saw a picture of the unedited version. It's so obvious that she's got some big giant thing glued to her neck because the blade has got a curve in it. It just wraps around her neck and pokes out the front. And it's so obvious. It looks ridiculous. But the color corrected one looks fine. Yeah, apparently when he started this, Ted White was 58.
Oh, dang. Okay.
And because of how old he is now, I think he's still alive. He's like 95. He's like the oldest cast member to ever be around still.
I mean, when you look up on Google and like just to see what their names are, because I do that for like, when I'm taking notes so I can like, if I miss their name or whatever.
Yeah.
And his picture's updated. So he's really old.
Oh, yeah. For me, when we look him up on IMDb, it's just him as Jason.
Yeah, but if you just do Google, it pops up with his like most current picture that they have.
Oh, I bet. I mean, my man was born in 1926.
Yeah, he's old.
I know. He's been a stuntman for a long time, though. He did a lot of Westerns. Like, apparently he used to be a stuntman for, like, John Wayne.
That's cool.
Yeah, like, I want to say his first acting role was in 1949. He was in The Sands of Iwo Jima. He's an uncredited Marine.
Okay.
And then he just starts doing a bunch of uncredited extra scenes and gets into being a stunt person. It happened to a lot of people from that area that did those. That were kind of like just, I'll do the rough stuff in a Western or something. Went on to be early stunt people, which is kind of cool. Yeah, he plays like a thug in one movie. He's a driver. He's a hood at a pool hall. This is a bunch of random stuff. He just probably a dude that flew through a door or something in one scene. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Really interesting, though. Like I said, he's one of the earliest ones. He was probably really nice, too, and he doesn't like the director of this film. Like he said many times, he thinks he's a bully. and doesn't like how he
Okay.
deals with stuff.
That sucks. I hate to hear that.
Yep. Like there's one scene, in the when she's in the yellow boat, the girl and she's
Yes.
naked. Well, that was one of the last things they shot. So that was in December.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So she's like freezing. And the director wouldn't stop shooting, apparently. He wanted to get the shot and all this light and stuff. And it got so bad that Ted White was like, if you don't get her out of that water and warm her up, I'm quitting. I'll walk off. I don't need this job. And because he's already pretty much done at this point. He was an established actor stuntman. He's like, I'll leave right now. Get her out of that water. She ended up getting hypothermia and everything.
Good grief.
Yeah. Kind of goes back to those early episodes where we talked a lot about like the things and the links that actors will go to like have a job or get a role, and like that's crazy.
Her character and Paul's character swam through that water, and if it's in December, that's freezing.
She was in that water all day. She said it was like an 8-hour shoot because it's half her body is in the water. Her upper half is on the dinghy. The rest of it's fake. So the part that gets stabbed is not really her. Her lower half is down in the water. So she's like freezing. That's why some of her faces are kind of ridiculous when she's dying and stuff, because she's like genuinely freezing. She ended up getting hypothermia from it. Like I watched an interview about that where he was like, I told him I'd leave. He needed to get her out of the water. He basically accused him of not being a good director for the actor. He's great for the movie and he wants to make a good picture, but he doesn't care about hurting the actors to do it.
I just don't understand that, but yeah. I mean, I guess that's Hollywood, man. They don't care.
No, it's art to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yes. It's crap, but whatever.
I'm with you. There's a lot of funny like coincidences in this one. Like in the beginning, like my favorite two, it's one of the trope for the medical examiners forever eating in there. My man just lays his tuna sandwich on Jason's stomach there, and he's like, whatever, let me sign for him.
That's so gross.
He's watching, Axel's his name. He's watching that aerobicized video and of course, he's being all pervy about it. But there's a character in that video. It's Darcy DeMoss. She's actually in Friday the 13th Part 6, which is kind of funny.
Oh, okay.
So really, she's in 4 and 6, but just for like her face in that video in 4. But yeah, she's actually in 6.
Yeah, Axel and his little nurse friend are gross. I'm like,
it's R. Morgan.
Why would you even, want to do anything sexual with a dead body next to you? It's really gross.
Yeah, it totally is. But it is. People, why would you want to sleep with another teacher in the same building? It happens. They're weird, man. I don't know.
That's disgusting.
I know, but that's we've known plenty of people in our careers that have done it, and you're just like, why? Why are you doing that? So maybe it was a opportunity. I don't think she knew there was actually a body there until that hand fell down on her. And me and Aaron were laughing. Would you imagine you're laying there and it's like all of a sudden this dead person's hand just kind of falls down on your butt?
Yeah, no.
Her character is just R. Morgan, and she's named after Robbie Morgan, who played Annie in Friday the 13th, #1. So she's like an homage character, little throwback.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that was like some of my favorite parts in the very beginning. It's just ridiculous. And this, of course, is the last film to pick up immediately where the previous film leaves off. So we get that flashback and you see Jason die. And after this one is when you get the big time jumps where Tommy's like an older teenager instead from being 10.
Mm-hmm.
Which I had, one of my big notes this whole time is they never say like their dad is dead or anything. What the hell's your dad?
Oh, you're talking about Jason's dad?
No, Tommy's dad. Like the parents are separated. And at the end of this movie, they're like in the hospital. You've gone through some traumatic stuff. Where's your dad? And even later on, when you see Tommy again, he's in like that boys' home and stuff. It's like, where's your dad? Your dad's a chump.
Well, I know. But where's the sister? It doesn't even talk about her, does it?
No, I think she's like in a home or something, like for crazy people.
Oh, like she didn't lost her mind.
Yeah, she's got a lot of post-traumatic stress. Like she's just nuts right there. She's gone.
Yeah, they're both crazy, but that's okay.
Yeah, but Tommy's funny though.
I do have a really big titty tally for this one.
Oh, I bet.
I think this is my big titty tally. The biggest tiggy. Oh, my tiggy tally.
Tiggy tally.
my biggest titty tally for any movie we've done so far, but it was 11. I probably missed a couple, to be honest with you, but I counted 11.
Yeah, there's a lot of boobs in this one.
That included the little projector reels they found of like it was like silent film type things, and
Yeah,
it was ladies with the
just Dan.
like
There's probably
little.
like a
It was like burlesque
yeah.
style stuff.
That's what I was trying to get at. It was like a burlesque style video.
Yeah,
And
and
those were
he's
kind of
and
big pre talking films. What they call them, talkies.
yeah, what is his name? Is it Ted? Yeah,
Yeah, oh teddy bear.
Ted was like the most pathetic character
He
in
really
my
was.
opinion,
He's gonna be a jerk.
but
He's like, you're down here getting high. He really was high too. There's a funny interview where like his death scene, he thought to be more authentic, he'd really get high, and he was like, it was the worst thing ever. I was freaking out. I had to die, and he said it was really bad, which is kind of
that's
funny.
funny.
It's what it gets.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because he was a turd. Is it Jimmy? Yeah, Jimmy.
Yeah, calling him a dead fucking stuff. Mino. He's like, you're mean. Sorry, Jimbo. You're garbage. They put my computer here. It was great.
Oh, it's so stupid. Their relationship was so absurd.
No, but it was the most high school boy relationship ever.
Yes.
Like I hear kids talk to each other like that. I'm like, be nice to each other, you shitheads. So at the time, this one had this installment. It was of the series. It had the most nudity and the most gore. So they
Okay.
jacked it up in the future episodes, but up until this one, like between four, the first four, this was like the most people die. I think in this one
Yeah,
out of the up so far.
yeah. I was trying to count them and like remember like in what order they died on this one because so I wouldn't forget how and when. Like especially with the twins, I was like,
Well,
I need to remember which one's which.
I got my roll call of death before I talk about anything else. I can go over it. So first death
Okay.
is Axel. His is awesome. He gets his throat slit with that freaking saw. He turns his
Yeah,
head all the way
gross.
around. It's one of my favorite ones. Nurse Morgan's torso gets split open, which is funny on that one. The death scene, it looks like she's peeing. It's because when they use the knife to cut her torso, the hose came loose, and it really is coming out from between her legs. That's why the scene cuts to her lower half bleeding.
Okay.
Because I didn't really notice it until I was doing some additional research on the effects, and I was like, it does look like she's peeing right now, like she's just peeing blood. Next is the hitchhiker with the banana, the ridiculous squeezed banana. Then we get Samantha, who's stabbed through the stomach. That's the poor girl in the boat, the one who liked to get naked a lot. Which, it's always like the kind of slutty ones that die first. Poor Paul gets stabbed in the crotch with that spear gun, and then he shoots it through his crotch. But he picks him up, and it's funny, I've seen some behind-the-scenes footage where he couldn't quite get balance, so he'd pick him up, and then he would fall over behind Ted White and, kept messing it up. They were just they finally got him harnessed incorrectly. But yeah, I would hate to be picked up from my crotch over and over again.
I loved his death. I think this is my favorite. Because
it's one of the best ones in this episode.
It is, because I was like, God, Paul sucks. Like, he's such a jerk. And then that was like the most fitting death. I was like, it's good.
You were thinking that little TikTok trend. I'm just thinking with my dick. He was doing that, and he got stabbed in the crotch for it. Got him. Yep. See, Terry gets speared in the back, which I guess Terry is one of the. Yeah, okay, that's the twin. Okay, yeah, he shoots her in the back and then throws her against the building. At first, I was like, hold up, who's Terry? I remember now. Miss Jarvis, she just gets killed off screen, which sucks. She's probably the lamest kill. You don't know what happens to her. She just makes a face, yells. And then she's dead. I'm assuming Jason broke her, killed her or something. Jimmy gets a cleaver in the face. Oh, Jimbo's is cool. He's like, where's the wine cork? Where's the not cork? What is it?
The wine opener?
Is it just called a wine opener? Is that what he says?
No, I don't think that's what. I don't think that's what he said. But that's what corkscrew. It was.
Well, yeah, where's the corkscrew?
Oh, the corkscrew. That's what he kept saying.
Jesus Christ, Joe. Our brains don't work in the summer.
And I do that wine, so
I know. And they do this cool scene with his hand. He can't get it off the cutting board, and that cleaver to the face. That's a good one. I like that. It
was a good one.
Poor Tina gets basically thrown through the window on top of that car, which really, if any 80s action movie tells you anything, she's fine. She walked away from that. Get out of here.
With a lot of broken bones, but yes.
Yeah, 100%.
She hit that car hard.
Yes, she did. All the windows shot out of it, which is another funny thing about later on with Jason talking about how goofy some of this parts of this movie is. Like, I love it, but it's like I said, this is my favorite one, but it's ridiculous. Then, of course, Ted gets stabbed in the back of the head, and that's my favorite kill probably because he just slides down that screen all slow, and that was just really cool
Yeah,
looking. And
and
it
it says
splits the screen,
yeah. Johnny liked that one too.
and I like the flipping light in his face, and he's like, Doug gets his head crushed against the wall. That one was brutal. That scene is hilarious because when you first see it, it's the actual actor. So when he's pushing his nose and his side like that, and then there's a tube going down Jason's arm, just shooting blood into his face. And then they cut to the dummy where he crushes it. It's a pretty cool scene. Sarah gets that crazy axe to the chest through the door.
I know.
He was like, here's Johnny, straight in her chest.
I know. It's like busted right through real
Yeah,
fast.
he did. It came through hard. I was like, oh, dang. Okay, Jason. Then we got
He
Rob.
like,
He's
he like
killing me.
Captain
He's killing
America
me.
that thing
Yeah, he
through the
did.
door.
He threw that two-handed. Came at her hard, and then she's just dead. Funny thing about her, the titties for her in the shower is not actually her. She refused to get naked on this.
Okay.
And she's got the entry's second most durable towel of all time. Because she's running around that towel right behind the girl from Jason Goes to Hell who's doing front flips in it. But her towel is like, we're on here for life.
That's right. That stupid towel in that
She
movie. It
dies in
was
a
so
towel.
funny.
I know. But this girl, Sarah, dies in a towel.
Yeah,
Like
she does.
she's running around. Oh my God. After her boyfriend gets murked and he's hanging through the window. Which was cool. Zito said he wanted to play on the trope of the girl always dying in the shower and make it the guy.
I like that. It's fun. I didn't think about that, but
Yeah, he
that's
said,
good.
well, he said he did it on purpose. He's like, nah, I wanted something a little different. And they did. I thought it was really cool. And then, of course, we get Rob, the whole screaming, he's killing me. He's killing me.
Oh my gosh, my favorite. He run, he's killing me. Johnny goes, oh man, when does the victim ever get to say he's killing me?
I
That's
know,
great.
right? It's ridiculous.
So stupid.
And then the final death on this is technically Jason.
Yeah.
He does die. He gets half his head sawed off, which is cool. And then Tommy just goes wild on his back with that machete. Die, 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 which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Tom told me he wanted to split his head completely in half. But the producers were like, nah, we want to leave the possibility of there being another one in the future. You know,
Yeah.
they basically just straight made him a demon at that point. But yeah, so there's all the deaths in order. I gotta say, I think if I really sit down and think about it, Ted's is my favorite. Ted or Axel?
I just liked the Paul one because I thought it was like
fitting.
Yes, it was fitting. That's why I liked it.
I'm just going off how cool it looked.
Yeah. I think if I was going off that, I think it would be Doug
That was a cool one, yeah, with close
in the
up head
shower.
crushing. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that one because that's like typical Jason. He can like freaking smash your head.
100%. 100%.
So,
I know, but that gets to my next point. I had a bunch of notes on this. So, Rob, which is the most 80s thing ever, is a random hitchhiker that just walks up on them in the woods.
Yeah.
With a pack. He's got a gun and he pulls out a boot knife. They're all like, then all of a sudden, they're the best friends ever. And Tommy's like, come play in my room. And the mom was just like, okay, random strange man, come in my house. It's fine. What? Like,
Yeah.
he just walks in. Oh, hi, ma'am. You're like a grown adult.
I know. And they were like instant love interests with
Yeah,
him
immediately.
and Trish. And I'm like,
hey.
what?
She was
What's
like,
happening?
oh, hey. And he was like, what's up? But then he asked some creepy questions like, are there any kids nearby?
I know.
People at the lake? Are you by yourself? What? You murderer? No way.
He kind of was a murderer. Well, not really, but he was after.
He wanted to murder Jason.
He was after a bear, a large bear.
Well, he really wasn't. That's his lie, though.
I know.
He was. But that's one other thing that doesn't make sense. Like I was telling y'all yesterday. So if these movies are shot in sequence, he should barely even know his sister is dead at this point.
That's what me and Johnny were talking about that because the second movie made it sound like it was a year after the first event.
I know, but she died in the second movie.
She did, but it was like a year later. Like she had been living at home back in that's kind of the impression we got was that it was like about a year later ish. But that because a day later wouldn't have made sense because she was like back to her normal life, but like in a PTSD world, kind of deal.
Well, yeah, but he's only after her after Jason, because Jason killed his sister. So
I'm talking about the second movie.
I know,
Like,
but it's the year after the first one. But what I'm saying is, this fourth one is like 3 days after the second movie. Like, he shouldn't even know his sister's
okay.
dead yet. Not enough to be out there in
Okay.
the woods camping, ready to kill somebody.
I thought you meant like the first and second movie were like supposed to be a day apart. And I was like, that doesn't make any
No,
sense.
second, third, and fourth movies are all a day apart. It's
Okay.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Gotcha.
It's like a weekend is what it's supposed to be. But yeah, I don't understand. So like in this one, essentially in 84, part 2 starts on a Thursday. On Friday, we get all that. Part 3 goes straight into that night. Jason takes on and gets a mask. Let's see here. Yeah. And then Sunday, the 15th, the 19-year-olds, they get him or whatever. He kills them all. Then it's like that night, the bodies of Jason and 10 victims are found. So, like, this movie might take place on like Monday or Tuesday. So it's all within a week.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, I kind of expect that.
And then the next one jumps up to like 4 to 5 years in the future of it, because they got Tommy in there as an older person.
Yeah. Oh, good old Tommy. Him and his masks and his little
Yeah. His masks were awesome.
like special effects things is fun. And oh my gosh, the ending is like the funniest and weirdest thing ever when he's like shaving his head to look like little Jason. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's so weird. And he comes down the stairs and he looks all awkward and small. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's so weird looking.
Got his makeup on his face. Jason, you remember me? Yeah. It was interesting take though. I mean, to think about, because I mean, Jason
Yeah.
does, you kind of get it later on that like he kind of answers to like the ghost of his mom, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
Cause the one movie, he kind of gets tricked for a second.
with
I
Freddy
can't
versus
remember.
Jason. In that one, Freddy
No,
teases him all the time as his mom's voice, and he gets all mad. That's why they fight,
no, it was,
sort of.
the girl who finds his mom's body and she puts the sweater on. Is that the second one? That might have been the
I
second
think
one or the
so.
third one. Or the third one. I can't remember which one it is. But she puts the sweater on and she's like, "Jason," like trying to talk him out of doing anything bad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was like, that's weird. Mm.
There's a lot of funness in this movie, though. This is, like I said, it's one of my favorites. And there's just a lot of like things that got left in that were good decisions. I think the writing's well. I liked the teenagers better. Part 3's teenagers were just whatever. These ones actually seem like friends. They're written a lot better as characters and not just as fodder, which I like. And I just like Corey Feldman.
And Gordon. I don't understand the dog being in there at all. I'm like,
Just there.
they all are always yelling for Gordon the whole freaking movie. Like, Gordon, where you at, Gordon? Gordon. I'm like, oh my god, Gordon's is living his best life. Just leave him alone.
Gordon got
Okay.
ladies. That's what he said. You got a girlfriend out there? What are you doing out there, Gordon?
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh, who said that? I have it written down. Someone like got mad at somebody and said, "This you're this." Oh, it was at the beginning with the nurse. I was like, "What the hell does this even mean?" She said, "You're the Super Bowl of self abuse." Like, what does that even mean? I was like, it doesn't make sense. Okay. I said, did she really just say that or I'm making that up? And Johnny's like, oh, she said it.
Yep.
Okay. Oh gosh. I really liked the dynamic between Jimmy and Ted. I think that was probably my favorite dynamic because I can just hear it like on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Like when there's two best friends in a classroom and you're like, just freaking shut up. You could always making fun of each other, and it's not nice. Like, what are you doing? But
That's how friends act,
Jim,
though, especially dude friends. They're just like that.
yeah, Jimmy
Jerks.
is so absurd. His dancing and like,
Yeah. So apparently he's
you're
actually
like, yeah.
dancing to I want to say Back in Black. It's an AC/DC song, but they edited it out to put the other one in. Yeah, so when they filmed it, he's dancing to Back in Black by AC/DC, and the edited version is Love is a Lie by Lion was dubbed into the scene. But that's why his dancing doesn't fit the song at all. But apparently he really danced that way.
I'm sure he did.
Like
He is,
they said it's the eccentric way he actually danced in clubs. Like it was so bad the cast would go out with him between sets and they would just laugh at him because he really dances that way.
yeah, he's awkward.
He's a weird dude.
Yeah. I can't not look at him and think of McFly. I don't like him laughing and like slapping his leg. It's like, I can't. You know, that's all I can hear. He is very awkward. He's like, it's almost like his whole demeanor is how he actually is in real life in his movies.
I
Like
can
just
see that.
awkward and weird. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's the truth, but obviously there's a little bit of truth to it because you said they would go out and laugh at him when he danced. So there's that.
Yeah, because that was just him.
Yeah. I thought he was funny.
I think he's funny. He brings a little bit of levity to the film. A part in the middle is hilarious when he's like, "Oh hey, am I a dead F?" She's like, "No, you're amazing," and then you all die. So it's like you get some closure on your character, and then you're done.
Yeah, and the Ted scene was really cool. I liked when the film got cut and it kept like spinning, and you could hear the film hitting the table, and like it was real bright in his face, so he couldn't see anything. So I thought that was cool because you don't know where Jason is. I thought that was really cool and ominous. So I liked that. I did like that scene a lot, but I liked Ted and Jimmy a lot because like you said, they were written really well. Those two, especially.
Yeah.
Some of them were not because they served the purpose of the trope of a horror movie. Like you have a couple of bad girls in there, you have the good girl, you have a couple jocks, you got the geeks, the cool guy, and I use air quotes because Ted is really not the cool guy, but he pretends to be.
He wants to be real bad, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. With his popped collar and
His
he
little
give
vest.
Teddy a kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah, stupid.
Creeper.
Oh god. I can't. And I was real mad at Paul. I was like, how are you gonna pass up the real cute girl that you actually like for the twin that's dressed exactly like her sister?
Hey man,
With the
different girl,
top
bro.
bun.
Different girl.
Stupid.
He's just like, oh
But
hey.
they're both bad girls. So anyways. Or the loose girl. That's what I put on there.
That is.
It's true.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought it was cool because I feel like the writing was better in this one because of the tropes were more ironed out. That's because you kind of expect that in these movies to have the tropes in there.
Well, yeah, they pretty much established tropes were these kind of movies, right? Most of the tropes we know today are based on these movies.
Oh yeah, that's great.
100%.
I always like looking at it. I always like looking at those.
That's my favorite part looking back on movies now is that like we didn't recognize them as tropes then because they were being created. So it's like every single trope, like the whole, like you said, loose girl or like the looser moral woman usually dies first. If there's a black kid, they usually die first. Those are all ridiculous horror tropes set from this time period for the most part. There's always the person that you think is going to be the tough guy that gets murdered. You know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous and it's like the Rob. Best. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck. Okay, so this bothers me. This is one of the one thing in this movie that bothers me. So, Rob, you go to the woods. You know you're looking for Jason. You know it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're camping, middle of nowhere. You hear a sound. You run out. You grab a weapon. You have a rifle on your backpack, and you grab a machete to fight Jason. You're just going to give him a weapon. Like I thought that dude was going to die. There was that scene where he pauses for a long time next to that tree with like the jagged branch. I'm like, oh my gosh, Jason's going to pick him up and just throw him on this branch. That'd be sweet. But he goes back and for some reason, instead of killing him, Jason came in just to break his gun. Which, that's the one part of this movie that makes no sense to me. Jason would not do that.
No, he's not smart enough.
No, they played him. He was played smarter on purpose in this one. But at the same time, he would have stayed there and tried to kill him. Like, why is he here just to break a gun and leave? that didn't make no sense to me. Like
Yeah.
they could have cut Rob's whole character out of this movie, and I don't think it'd have been any different. Other than any of them could have said he's killing me, and it wouldn't have been just as fine. We did not need that character. His whole arc is stupid. Like you said, he's an immediate love interest. He really shouldn't
Yeah.
even know that his sister's been murdered yet. It's 2 to 3 days later,
Yeah, that
unless you
was weird.
just found out and went straight to the woods looking for Jason. I mean, I guess you could kind of, it's possible. Maybe they called and his mom was like, oh my God, your sister's been killed. And then he's like, I'm going to kill him. But still, you go
Not
in the
to
woods with a
mention,
machete.
this is the argument I had too in this one is you have all these people showing up at these cabins and the news was all over all those murders. Why are you camping with your family in the woods?
This many days, yeah. Well, the one
Stupid.
Tommy's mom and dad, they lived there. That's their house. They weren't camping. They lived there. I think it's because their parents separated and their dad lives wherever they lived before, and then they live in this other place. But they live there.
I couldn't know. That's not good. And then obviously the teenagers renting out next door. Whatever.
Yeah. You knew that was going to go bad. Oh, there's a group
Oh,
of
yeah.
teens next door. Well, the fact is, if you lived there already, like you said, you should have known about Crystal
Yeah,
Lake.
I wouldn't even felt comfortable with it. I would have been like, maybe we should go stay somewhere else for a little bit. Or like, don't go running in the woods.
Every day. One trip around
And
the
she
lake.
ran. Yeah, and then Mrs. Jarvis went running at night in the rain. Like, what are you doing?
Maybe
Stay home.
she was trying to
And
find
then
that
she's like
camper
walking
guy.
out looking for Gordon, her dog.
Yeah.
Who the fuck keeps letting Gordon out? Gordon needs to stay in the house.
Well, there was a whole thing where like Tommy kept forgetting to close the door, so Gordon would
I
just take
know.
off.
It's ridiculous.
I'm with you. There's a lot of some of the writing is silly. I like the way some of them are written better, and we can get into it more when we jumped into the rubric. There are a couple fun facts I want to throw out there, but like this one, Jason doesn't kill anyone with a machete. He never once uses a machete until he gets attacked with a machete, but he doesn't use it. Lisa Freeman, who's Nurse Morgan, and Crispin Glover, of course, were both in Back to the Future. So he's George McFly, and she was Babs. She's actually in Back to the Future 1 and 2.
Okay.
Which I think is kind of cool. The Jarvis house was an actual house. It was used in like the Twilight Zone. There's a couple other things it was used for because it was like just a repeat place. Whereas the house the teenagers rented out was a set they built. That's why it looks so different. It's the final film of Joan Freeman. Yeah. So that's pretty cool, I thought. I like that just some of the kind of callbacks to other people they did for this one, which I think is cool. That gets, wasted on other stuff. But other than that, do you want to jump into the rubric?
Yeah.
You got nothing else you want to add?
No.
Okay.
I was looking through my notes real quick just to make sure. But yeah.
Yeah. Couple callbacks, no dad, crazy man, murdered. Should have bought his gun. Simple as that. All right, so let's jump into it. The literary element. So the script, story development, dialogue, and character development. On this one, for what it is, I thought it had some decent development.
It did, but there was a lot of holes.
Oh yeah, I mean it's part 4 in the Friday the 13th series. I didn't expect.
Yeah, it's
Bram
it's not
Stoker
like
award level writing.
Yeah, it's not anything like crazy good, but there's some I like you said, the teens were put together pretty well, and there was an established friendship between all of them. So that was
and
or a friend group.
They were very successful with that, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the most successful piece of the writing in this. The dialogue was real goofy, but that's to be expected.
Yeah, it was in the 80s. I didn't expect it to be good dialogue.
No, but I'm just,
Yeah,
if
I'm
you're
with you.
going by the rubric, that's
100%. That's
what
the
we're
point of the
looking at.
rubric.
So,
but I think the story kind of is developed. Jason doesn't really have a story. He just shows up there to kill people. That is his story.
he's just crazy.
He's just there. You're at his camp. You're going to die. But yeah, I think it's in like the middle range for sure. I mean, there are some literary elements being supported. Like you said, we got some decent. The teens are believable.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, it's a believe. Like in 3, they're not believable. It's just like you're just happen to be in the same place. So the other ones, like the summer camp, makes sense because then using that like in the sleepaway camp, those kids don't really have to know each other to be good friends, so you don't expect great chemistry. But if you bring in characters who are supposed to be friends, like in part 3, and they seem so distant and weird, it's obvious. Whereas in this one, I thought those kids all looked like they went to school together.
Yeah.
You know, they're teasing one another. You got the little leader groups and the 2 tag along guys, and it just makes sense. So what do you think, like maybe 11, 12, something like that?
Yeah, that's doable.
Okay. So like I said, not a bad script. Story development's pretty okay. Decent character development for some of them. So yeah, I can say like 11.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's fair. Okay, so let's look at the effects and design elements. So visual effects elements that connect to the narrative, set design, overall character design, gore, and practical versus digital effects. It's 84, so there are no digital effects. It's all practical.
Mm-hmm.
I love some of the kills in this. They look really good.
Yeah,
You know, I think some
I
of the
agree.
shots are cool. Yeah, I like this one. Like I said, they're always good. You really can't go wrong with Tom Savini. I mean, it's freaking Tom Savini. You know what I mean? Like he's
Mm-hmm.
like the godfather of special effects, essentially. One of them. If there was a Mount Rushmore of special effects artists, he's going to be up there. You know, he's Tom Savini. So yeah, it's high for me. I think it looks good. The set designs were cool. You know, the fact that they built that second house, it has that weird old person vibe for like no reason. The lake looked nice. You know, it looked like a place you go to on a lake and rent for the
Yeah.
weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
you rented it out from the old people
yeah,
that aren't there right now.
yeah, it was like a pre Airbnb kind of situation.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, you can rent our house. We're not going to be here this summer. We're going to be in some other place. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny they leave their old burlesque films out, but you know, whatever. So this is kind of high for me. Like I said, the gore looks great. As always, Jason movies are cool. I really like some of the stuff with like getting his hand split in half. That looked really awesome. And that
Yeah, they
effect of,
really zoned in on that,
yeah,
didn't they?
it looked cool though.
Yeah.
The Jason getting his head split was a really cool effect. I mean, say what you will, because like I said, a lot of those things, it's obvious. It's like weapons with chunks out of them, right? Crispin Glover's death looked really cool. That axe through the door was a jump scare and a cool effect because it was in there, you know, and it just looked cool. So I liked it. This is probably a 20 for me.
Yeah, and I really liked that they showed Jason's face.
Yes, and the fact that they
And
allowed him to make it look like an adult version of the kid Jason
yeah,
was
of the
cool.
kid, yeah. So I really think that even made it score high for me
Yeah,
because
I
you
mean,
got to see what he actually looked like as an adult and how terrifying he looked
yeah, and it was cool to
when the
see
mask fell off.
throwbacks to like the shape of the face from kid Jason,
Mhm.
right? Like how that would have grown on that body. And I like Ted White's Jason opposed to other ones because he just looks like a big dude. He's not like Kane Hodder looks like otherworldly big because he's so padded up and just like he's already a big dude. But he's
Yeah.
like wide and big, so he's just opposing. This dude was just like tall person Jason, right?
Mhm.
So it was like believable that he wouldn't be the most like it was just good, I thought. I had no qualms about it. I was a fan. I like that he's not wearing the coveralls. It's just like the shirt and the pants. It has that
Mhm.
good, like this is one of the first ones or second ones, whatever you see like that, just really perfect, like good Jason. It was good. The mask wasn't too destroyed. It wasn't that overgrown face Jason from later on where you're wearing 40 pounds of latex on top of your body. It was just a still, I'm a dude. So I liked it. So I think like maybe even higher than 20, really. We think like 21, 22, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. All right. Visual technical element. So the overall aesthetic of the film is pleasing to the eye. Lighting, creative camera shots, and movement and lens selection. This one, it's got some good shots. I
It
like some of
does.
the shots with the lights. There's also some poor choices, like Rob's death, for instance. It's too dark, right? Like it's you can barely tell what's happening. That's why he's screaming, "He's killing me." You see that kind of weird shadow of
It's so
the
stupid.
the soil cultivator or whatever you call those things, and Jason uses it. The dude's just like, oh god, but you can't see what's happening. And
Yeah.
and then like the mom dying off screen, that was kind of a silly choice, I think. And it could have been like actress request, whatever. I don't know the deets, but that kind of took it away from me a little bit. and some of the lighting was a little off. But then there was other scenes like with Teddy's death and that light in his face and the camera shooting through the projector was really cool that I liked a lot. And those shower scenes were neat. They were just
Also,
done
the
well.
dog didn't make sense. I know that I keep coming back to the dog, but the dog confused me. Did the dog get thrown out the window, or did the dog jump
It jumped.
and break the glass in through the window?
It jumped. They use its favorite toy outside the window to convince it to jump, but it jumps. Which also to me is bull because, like, if someone was in our house trying to attack Erin, Morwen would die trying to defend her. Morwen is not running
Right?
away. You know what I mean? Like, my dog's gonna be there, hackles, teeth out. She's gonna try to get you. Gordon was a chump. Gordon was like, I'm out. F this, I'm out.
Man, if it was a little bit yapper dog, it would have been trying to
Chewing on his
murder
ankle.
somebody. Yes, like sometimes the bigger dogs are like little skirty cats. But
Yeah.
I mean, if they know their people are in trouble.
So I'm saying all of your people are
It
in
didn't make-
trouble. And
I was
Gordon
like,
dipped.
this doesn't make any sense. Why would Gordon? I was expecting Gordon to die trying to protect his family.
No, he just ran away.
Yeah, but he jumped through a closed window.
Yeah. He
Like
was getting away. He was so scared.
I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just a cool shot. They're like, hey, man, I want this dog jumping through a window. How do we make it happen?
I know, that just didn't make sense to me. I was I was like, what is it? Why did they even add the dog?
That goes back to the glittery element. It's there for no reason, just to have a family
I
dog.
know.
But it's kind of, like you said, it's useless. Like, it's not believable because I know how my dog would be. Like, if Erin's here by herself and a dude comes anywhere near her, she tries to eat them. Like, she's real, like, protective. Gordon gave no F's at all.
Right.
Gordon was like, nah, bro, y'all can die. I'm out. That's a big dude with an axe. I'm out of here. It's kind of funny. But that doesn't fit with the technical element, though. Technically, it looked cool. The stunts were good.
I know.
It does have some bad lighting. It's more middle of the ground for me. I'm thinking more like 13, 14. Maybe 15.
That's fine. I don't know if it's deserving of a 15, so maybe it's a tad lower than that.
So you want to say 14 or 13?
13's good.
Okay. All right, back to the sound element, your favorite. So the sound represents the overall tone of the film. The soundtrack, as well as the score, keeps the audience engaged with the setting, characters, location, and narrative of the piece. Now, this one is still, as always, it's Henry Manfredini. He does all of them. And this one is way better than 3. And 3 had a ton of recycled stuff from 2. I think this one he added a lot of horns, and they kind of changed Jason's theme at one point in time where it was there, but there was more horns in it, and it just kind of different. So he took a different approach to it. I thought the score was pretty solid for this one. Didn't mind the soundtrack. It's a real 80s.
Yeah, soundtrack was okay.
They used music when it was appropriate.
Yeah, it wasn't like thrown in for just no stupid reason.
Yeah, just there to be there.
Yeah, I like when they were playing the record player, it made sense to me because I was like, it's a house party.
Yeah, you're dancing, you're playing music.
Shotgun and beers and making out and, you know, trying to convince the girl to have sex with you because, you know, Ted's weird.
Yes.
But I'd say it was middle of the road for me. I don't think that there's anything like that stands out a whole lot. So probably a little over a 15, maybe like a 17-ish for me. I don't really find it to be anything extravagant or anything. Like,
that's still pretty high.
I'm not gonna be like, oh man,
yeah,
oh man, that music in that movie, man, it wasn't that for me.
Yeah,
but it was good. It wasn't bad.
Remember any music.
I don't. Well, even the score, I like it. You remembered a little bit more than I did.
Yeah.
So,
well, it just had some. It had some parts that I noticed because of how different it sounded.
Yeah.
And so, because he's done the score for every Jason movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. This one, he kind of took stuff he had done, but then he modernized it. He tweaked it. I like that. I like the addition of the horns. It just shows that it's really easy in this kind of movie, like in the Halloween series too, or The Exorcist, or even like, you know, things like Star Wars. You recycle the music that fits for those characters or that setting, and you can just keep using it over and over again, like the sound effects for Jason, like that.
Yeah.
Redoing that, but he took that and kind of incorporated it in different ways in this movie, and I kind of appreciated that. So I'm totally fine with 17. I thought it was pretty good. They didn't overly use songs, which I was happy about. Like the "Love Is a Lie" song is in this movie, but it's not on the soundtrack, which is funny. But
It's
I thought it was
funny.
pretty good overall. So yeah, it supports most of the elements. Like I said, the music plays at the right times. You get the cool Jason sounds, the creepy, eerie with some horns. So I'm with it. So what we give it here? It's gonna be the weirdest one we've scored yet. Is that like 30, 42, 53? Is that right?
I don't know. I didn't write down the
No,
numbers, and
maybe
I'm bad at math,
63.
so.
Yeah, hold on. 30, 40, 50. Yeah, 63.
Okay.
It
That's
seems,
not bad.
no, seems a little low. Let me make sure my math is right. 63 is what it scored. So what's that, like a D?
Yeah. I mean, it scored better because of the special effects.
Yeah, they were awesome. And like the story probably could have been a little bit higher, but there is stuff that makes no sense. Like Gordon, for instance, and Rob's whole character is kind of like whatever. You
Yeah,
get
there's
some,
plot holes.
yeah, which you expect. They're
Yes,
there.
it's Jason.
It's
It's a
Jason.
Jason film.
Yeah, his whole origin's a plot hole. You start as a child, and all of a sudden you're 6'5" man with look like a linebacker. I'm confused right now, dude. I'm confused.
Right.
But again, this is one of my favorite entries into the franchise. I really like the Tommy Jarvis character. I wish they would have kind of expanded on his original intent, where he was more of an inventor and not so much of like a mask maker. Like Jason was going to die by having his head exploded in a microwave that Tommy made. Like this weird microwave thing that he made was going to blow Jason's head up. But they
Okay.
decided to
That's
change it
weird.
and make it masks. Because that's the one thing. It's like, you're like 12, bro. There's no way you made those masks. Like, no possible way you made those masks at 12 years old. Like, there just isn't. I'd be real impressed. They look like studio quality, like Jason and the Argonauts looking masks. And they're cool. They're cool as hell. That's why I like the character. And him turning into Kid Jason at the end is just ridiculous, but in the best way. And some of his faces are redonk. So anyway, it's a great movie. Like I said, funny entry into it. Crispin Glover's little cameo situation is ridiculous. Silly dance,
Oh my gosh, yes.
which I've seen reproduced so many times at parties as a joke, is just really funny to see where it comes from. I feel like Carlton ripped him off. It's just ridiculous, man. He's an odd guy. Crispin Glover's just a weird dude. We should cover his Willard movie one time. That movie's scary with rats. Ugh. He plays a creepy person really well. Like I wish they'd cast him as the Joker.
Oh yeah, he'd be a good Joker.
Yeah, he would. I've been petitioning for that for years. Like, come on, man. Crispin Glover would be the best Joker. Definitely better than Jared Leto. But
I
I
haven't seen any
digress.
of those movies, so I can't even
I don't hate it. I just think
agree or disagree. So
Crispin Glover would be better. So yeah, there you have it.
yeah,
Friday the 13th, the final chapter, aka part 4, 63D. Not like I said, not terrible. I wouldn't fail this kid if it were submitted this script to me, but I would definitely be like, let's fix some of these holes and kill some of these characters because it makes no sense.
right.
Like Rob's whole character is kind of dumb. I get why he's there, but it's dumb. Could have been any local teenager. It could have been fixed and had a better reason for be there, like someone they already knew or something. And just they were just immediately okay with this random strange person. And I remember the '80s. It was like the decade of stranger danger. Don't speak to the guy in the white van. That dude has serial killer vibes written all over him.
I know, like, and they just, oh, you can fix my car. Oh,
Yeah,
you can get in my car. Oh, you can come in my house. Like, what are
yeah.
you doing?
It was immediately, and she's like, "I need a screwdriver." He's like, "Let me pull my blade out." Like, okay, okay, stranger, you just jacked out a boot knife right next to this child, and he's all excited. We're best friends. Oh my god, come look at my masks. Yeah, it was weird. And the mom's
It's
like,
so stupid.
okay. Well, no, it was weird. So, yep. All right. Is there anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
Well, I want to remind everyone what we're reading this month because I don't think we have done that yet.
Oh, we probably have not.
If
You're
we
right.
haven't, and I dropped the ball. But anyways, we are reading it's a YA book, and she's actually got a lot of them, and Bob's already hating on it, so we'll
Yeah.
see how it
Crap.
goes. But it is called The Lake by Natasha Preston. The reason I picked it is because it literally is set at summer camp. I have never read any of her stuff, so I don't know if it's good or bad. I'll let you know.
I can tell you I'm
So.
about 11 chapters in, and it's not great.
Well,
But nothing's
it
really
was the
happened yet, so it may get really good when stuff starts happening.
Yeah, so I haven't read any of her stuff, so I didn't know like if it was any good or not. So, but I mean, she's really big in the YA section. If you go into the YA section at any bookstore, she's got a whole set that's like out, and So, anyways,
Whatever. It's a good.
we'll
It's a
see.
book.
We'll see what
If it's
we'll see what happens.
they're not all supposed to be good. You know what I mean?
No,
Sometimes we
I ain't
review
worried
things
about
that
it.
aren't great. I'd like to have some of our it'd be cool to get listeners suggest things to us to read in the future too. I'd like to see that kind of just grow and get more authors involved, and it's fun. Like I said, this book may end up being really well. Like I said, it's definitely for young adults. From what I've read so far, it's more about there's some intrigue and some mystery, but it seems like it'll get better, and we'll find out soon. So yeah, read along with us. End of the month, that'll be our last episode. We got one more movie to do this month, which I'm real excited about. And yeah, so there you go,
Yes.
guys.
All right. So you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Horror in the Halls. You can also follow Jenny_Dreadfuls on Instagram. You can email us at horrorinthehalls@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, guys, reach out. We're also on Threads now. It's a brand new social media platform made by Instagram. It's like a Twitter replacement, I guess. It prompted me to add when I was making a post on Instagram. So I was like, sure. So check us out on there, guys. Like, follow, comment, let us know what you think. And yeah, that's going to be the bell. We're going to get out of here. We'll see you next time.
Bye.